You stand before the arch. The stone towers above you. It blocks out the light of the binary suns behind your back. The material is not rock. It absorbs the light like a sponge drinks water. Carvings twist across the surface. They look like star maps, but the stars are wrong. None of these constellations appear in your ship's nav computer. You take a breath. The air here is thin, but breathable. A low hum vibrates in the soles of your boots. It feels like a purring cat the size of a mountain. The gate does not open. It simply stops being solid. The darkness turns into a mist. You step forward. Curiosity pulls you harder than gravity ever could. This is the place the old transmission spoke of, the museum. You walk into the mist. The light from outside vanishes. Your flashlight beam cuts through the fog. Dust motes dance in the light. A voice brushes against your mind. It does not come from your audio receiver. It bypasses your ears entirely. Traveler, the voice whispers. It sounds like dry leaves skittering over pavement. You are young. A shape forms in the shadows ahead. It is tall and draped in robes made of woven light. You cannot see a face. You only see eyes that look like dying embers. I am the curator, the figure says. This place is a tomb for memories. The curator glides backward. It motions for you to follow. We store the echoes of epochs your kind never touched. You check your pulse monitor. It is steady, which is surprising. Usually ghosts make you jumpy, but this ghost feels like a tired librarian. Come, the curator says. Time is short, and we have eternity to cover. You follow the glowing robes into the first hall. The space is vast. The ceiling is too high to see. Floating in the center of the room are spheres. They look like broken marbles. You realize what they are, planets, or rather the shattered remains of them. Cracked crusts hover in perfect suspension. Magma frozen in time glows dull red. You step closer to one jagged shard. You see tiny structures on the surface. Cities. Ruins of a civilization that ended before Earth invented the wheel. The weight of it hits you. Billions of lives are represented by these floating rocks. They burned their skies, the curator whispers. We kept the pieces. It is a grim collection, like keeping the bones of a pet that bit you. You move to the next exhibit. The air gets colder here. The walls seem to pulse. It is a rhythmic throb, like a heartbeat. The elder ones, the curator explains. They thought before they spoke. You feel a pressure in your temples. It is not pain. It is raw data trying to enter your brain. These beings guided the galaxy when stars were young. Their thoughts are still stuck in the walls. You catch a fleeting image, a geometric shape that means peace and math simultaneously. It is impressive, also slightly intrusive. It's like walking into a room where everyone just stopped arguing. The mental static fades as you move on. The next chamber smells like ozone and old paper. Rows of shelves stretch into the dark. They are packed with glowing tablets and crystal shards. This is the Library of Star Science. You glance at a tome hovering at eye level. The script shifts as you look at it. Your universal translator tries to lock on. It fails twice before spitting out a translation. How to fold light into bread. Wait, that cannot be right. You squint at the text again. How to fold light into bridges. That makes more sense. Though light bread would solve world hunger. You see formulas floating in the air above the shelves. They are beautiful. Equations that describe how to bypass physics. You reach out, but do not touch. The curator warned you. Knowledge has weight here. They knew too much, the voice says, so they forgot how to live. You leave the glowing books behind. The floor changes texture. It turns from cold stone to soft moss. You're in a forest, but it is indoors. The trees are tall and purple. Leaves shimmer with a metallic sheen. You touch a trunk. It vibrates. Data streams through the bark. Bioengineered, you whisper. The curator nods. A living archive. Every leaf holds a terabyte of history. The wind rusting through the branches tells a story. You listen closely. It sounds like a song about rain, but the rain is made of liquid diamond. You wonder if you can eat the fruit hanging there. Probably not. It might taste like algebra. This forest remembers its creators, the curator says. They sang to the trees to make them grow. It is peaceful here. You almost want to stay and take a nap. But the path winds forward. The moss gives way to polished metal. Glass cases line the walls. Inside are objects that look ordinary. A cup, a broken sword, a ring with a missing stone. Touch the glass, the curator instructs. You hesitate. Then you press your finger against the case of the sword. A jolt runs up your arm. You see a flash of vision. A warrior standing on a burning hill. He is screaming defiance at the sky. He is alone, but he is not afraid. The vision cuts off. You pull your hand back. Your heart is racing. Emotion, the curator notes. We preserve the feeling, not just the object. It is intense, like touching a live wire made of courage. You walk past a cracked helmet. You do not need to touch it to feel the sadness. It radiates loss. Heroism is common, the curator muses. Survival is rare. You enter the next hall. It is silent. Too silent. Weapons hang suspended in the air. They are not locked away. They float as if ready to be grabbed. Some look like guns. Others look like musical instruments. One looks like an angry toaster. The Hall of Silent Wars, the voice says. These ended civilizations in a single day. You step carefully. You do not want to bump into the doomsday toaster. The metal of the weapon seems to sing. It is a low, dissonant sound, like a choir singing in the wrong key. They want to be used. They have a hunger, the curator warns. Do not feed them. You keep your hands to yourself. You are a pacifist today, mostly because you do not know where the trigger is. You hurry to the exit of the weapon hall. The mood lightens in the next room. In the center stands a pedestal. On it sits a device. It looks like a compass made of brass and light. The needle spins wildly. It does not point north. The compass of return, the curator says. It points to what you desire most. You look at the needle. It slows down. It points to your ship. Then it shifts. It points to a door you have not seen yet. It is confused, you say. No, the curator corrects. You are conflicted. Fair point. You do want to go home, but you also want to see what is behind that door. The compass knows you better than you do. It is annoying. Like a friend who knows when you are lying about being busy. You leave the spinning needle behind. The walls of the next corridor are covered in glyphs. They move. They crawl over the stone like ants. You hear murmurs. Thousands of voices whispering at once. A chamber of lost languages, the voice announces. You focus on a cluster of symbols. They rearrange themselves. You hear a poem in your head. It is about 3 moons and a lover who went to sea. The rhythm is strange. It sounds like a heartbeat skipping. You feel the emotion of the poet. Longing, hope, a bit of seasickness. Words are bridges, the curator says. These bridges have no other side anymore. The speakers are gone. Only the echo remains. You feel a pang of loneliness. To speak and have no one understand is a quiet tragedy. The corridor ends at a massive doorway. It is not made of wood or metal. It is a sheet of shimmering energy. The portal of unseen horizons, the curator says. Step close. You walk up to the energy field. You see shapes moving on the other side. They are blurry possibilities. You see yourself leading a fleet. You see yourself discovering a cure. You see yourself eating a really good sandwich. That last one is tempting. This shows what could be, the voice says, if you dare to change. It is a crossroads. Every choice creates a new universe. This portal shows you the best ones and the worst ones. You see a version of yourself in chains. You step back. Too much information, you mutter. Ignorance is bliss, the curator agrees. But knowledge is power. You move away from the tempting glow. The path narrows. The curator stops. It blocks the way. Its eyes flare brighter. A test, it says. You cannot pass without offering something. You check your pockets. You have a multi-tool and some lint. Not matter, the curator says. Spirit. A hologram appears. It shows a creature in pain. It is trapped under a fallen beam. What do? The curator asks. Save it, you say instantly. Why? Because it is alive. It is an enemy, the curator counters. It tried to kill you. You hesitate. You look at the hologram. The creature is suffering. I still save it, you say. Mercy is not about them. It is about me. The curator stares at you, or you think it does. The robes shift. Correct. Compassion is the only currency that matters here. The hologram vanishes. The curator steps aside. You may enter the archive. You walk into the largest hall yet. It is filled with screens, millions of them. They float in the air like clouds. You see familiar scenes. The pyramids being built. The first flight at Kitty Hawk. A child taking their first step on Mars. Humanity, you whisper. We are watching, the curator says. You are young, but you are loud. You see wars. You see peace treaties. You see art. You see a cat video from the ancient internet. It is all there. We are jagged, you admit. We make messes. You also clean them up, the voice says. Sometimes. You see your own face on a screen. It is from when you entered the museum. You look scared, but determined. You are part of the story now, the curator says. Do not let your page be blank. The room begins to hum. The screens merge into a single light. The final revelation, the curator announces. The light washes over you. It is not blinding. It is warm. You feel the minds of 1 trillion beings. They are not dead. They are sleeping in the data. We can awaken, the voice says. But we choose to dream. Why, you ask? Because our time is done. Yours is just beginning. The museum is not a tomb. It is a seed bank. It keeps the past safe so the future can grow. You have a choice, the curator says. Stay and dream with us, or go and wake the galaxy. It is a heavy offer, eternal peace and knowledge. Or the messy, painful struggle of real life. You look at the light. It is beautiful, but it is static. It does not change. I have to go, you say. I have work to do. The curator seems to smile. The robes brighten. Good choice. Dreams are for the night. You are the day. The light swirls around you. It feels like a wind pushing you forward. The walls dissolve. The floor fades. You are standing outside. The arch looms behind you. The binary suns are setting. The sky is a bruise of purple and gold. The air tastes fresh. You take a deep breath. Your mind feels sharp. You remember the formulas. You remember the songs. You remember the mercy. You check your compass. It points to the stars. Okay, you say to the empty air. Let's get to work. You walk toward your ship. Your boots crunch on the gravel. It is a solid sound. Real. The galaxy is big and quiet. But you have stories to fill it with now. You climb the ramp. The engine hums to life. It is not a graceful sound. It coughs and sputters. But it works. You strap in. The nav computer blinks. Destination? It asks. You punch in the coordinates. Everywhere, you say. You punch the throttle. The ship leaps into the sky. You leave the museum behind, but you carry its lesson with you. The past is a map, but you are the driver, and the road is wide open.